Welcome back to Raise Your Child Bilingual in whatever language you speak. I am assuming you have seen my previous video where I told you how to start raising your children so that they can master the language of the country you grew up in on top of the language of the country they are growing up in. I won't lie to you, raising your children bilingual is a challenging process that may get even more so as children grow. However, we parents get more savvy as we go, the job gets a little bit more intense, but we also grow with it, and with a bit of effort, we get better and the results can be extraordinary. Now, when the first baby is born, in terms of language, we have a blank page that we can fill with words, with language, and the wisest thing to do is to fully use this privilege. I take you now back to an earlier presentation where I introduced you to the critical period. Remember, you may want to pause to read as it can get a little bit technical.
The critical period hypothesis is the subject of a long-standing debate in linguistics and language acquisition. It analyzes the extent to which the ability to acquire language is biologically linked to age. The hypothesis claims that there is an ideal time window to acquire language in a linguistically rich environment, after which further language acquisition becomes much more difficult and effortful. The critical period hypothesis states that the first few years of life is the crucial time in which an individual can acquire a first language if presented with adequate stimuli. If language input does not occur until after this time, the individual will never achieve a full command of language, especially grammatical systems.
What all this is actually saying is that it is believed that up to a certain age, children have a biological ability to learn language if they are exposed to it, and that after this period, which they call critical, it all becomes much more difficult. So, it is believed that when a child reaches 13, 15 years of age, other factors will come in play too. He or she will not be able to learn a new language as a native speaker, and in the same way, a child who has learned a language during that period is not likely to lose it, at least not completely. That brief definition I read before mentions these two vital aspects: linguistically rich environment with adequate stimuli and crucial time. I have worked on these two aspects to raise my children bilingual, and this is how I did it. I started talking, commenting, describing what we saw and did, clearly and using a rich vocabulary. We touch all possible subjects. My husband's mother language is English. My home family has never been to this country, so I was basically the only living source of the minority language my kids ever had, or at least I was the largest and certainly the closest. My children and I talked about just anything. We talked so much. I remember thinking we probably wouldn't be talking about this or that if it wasn't because I wanted to expose them to my language as much as possible. That seems a little bit OTT, I know, but please look at the results and tell me whether that was the right thing to do or not. When my children started saying their first words, it was all about motivating them to always respond in the minority language, helping them, cueing them the answers so that they would repeat. You know that young children repeat everything in any language. Repetition is a key part of that wonderful unconscious mechanism that children have that allows them to learn to talk. Language is learned by absorbing the sounds around us and mimicking them. Language teachers know this, so they use repetition all the time to teach their adult students, even when they are far away from the critical period. Repetition is key. I repeat, repetition is key. You want to motivate your children to use the minority language whenever possible. A great way to do this is by offering them opportunities to use it with purpose. That is, that the child will achieve something by using the language as opposed to a student doing homework, which is a simulation. I taught my children that they have a tool to communicate with me and they should try it and keep it. When they were little, we compared language with a plant. The language needs to be watered, otherwise it will die. It has to be fed every day and more so as it grows and adding more content. I found asking rhetorical questions very useful too. Get the language out. Use it, use it, use it. Talk clearly, with variety, announcing well, in whatever your native accent might be. Play the role of a radio presenter. Children copy, copy, copy. Children save as, and then they bring up what they have saved later, naturally. In that way, they acquire the wonder of language. And finally, let me tell you that my language, the language I grew up in, has always played a major role in my relationship with my children. Maybe if we were monolingual, we wouldn't need to talk this much. Could be. When the child is with me, I need to aim for that total immersion in this linguistically rich environment of mine. I invite you now to watch a short video where I tell you about the survival of a Catalan language, a fabulous example of the success of total immersion in a language. Be amazed. This is a commitment that will bring your children and yourselves infinite benefits, and it doesn't end here. This is only the beginning. Watch my other short videos for free and add your experiences in the comments so that many more videos are made and many more parents can give their children this extraordinary gift for life.